So, I'm going to talk a little bit about the idea that in a religion, certain people have privileges that they're supposedly closer to the gods or God than other people. And although this can be very helpful in some ways because as a society, people take on different roles. You have your farmers, you have people who craft things, you have people who perform various services. So it makes sense that when you have a lot of people, you have a breakdown into different services. And then you have a priesthood, which is these people that supposedly commune with the gods. And what can sometimes happen, or a lot of times, is these priesthoods become very corrupt. And essentially, what they do is whatever stuff they got from God, they come down and they tell people to go and do essentially the exact opposite of what they're doing because they don't want these other people to be getting revelations from God or the deities or the divine or whatever that contradict what the priesthood is saying. So they have various mechanisms to keep themselves in power as a social class. And the reason I'm talking about this here is because I rewatched my old video about holy orders. And because this is around the time of the eclipse, I think it's a little bit afterwards, this is a perfect time for me to discuss this subject. Because traditionally eclipses were one of the things that the priesthood used to keep themselves in power because they knew all this stuff, but like everybody knows about it now because we have the internet, so you can just look this stuff up on the internet. So there are still various forms of a priesthood that have various forms of power over people. But with this tool we have, the internet, we need to do our own research and connect with others who have similar but different experiences. Now, this seems to contradict a lot of the idea of somebody going and being a hermit and then getting this revelation from God. The problem is a lot of times people do the hermit thing without really having the connection to the community, or maybe they've just been like kicked out of it, so then they go and do like this hermit thing. But there comes a stage in the journey where what you need to do is grow your audience so that you can reach more people. Because when you have this realization of where these priesthoods are keeping people in the dark about things that they need to know to survive, that knowledge is very important, but the priesthood has devious means of keeping certain knowledge concealed, and a lot of what they use is fear. Not so much fear of God, but fear of the government, fear of the socio-cultural mechanisms that they use to keep themselves in power. And all of these fears can be overcome when you have that direct connection with divine power, which is simple and easy for anybody to achieve, then we don't need a priesthood peddling falsehoods. That does, however, mean that sometimes people get disconnected from their higher self and get in their own way of their connection with the divine. And we do need people who help us connect to ourselves better, which is a different thing than just a priesthood of telling us what the revelations are supposed to be.